You're standing under those fluorescent lights that make everyone look like they just remembered a cringy thing they said in 2016. Your card is squeaking in a way that feels personal. You came in for toothpaste and somehow you're holding a seasonal throw pillow and debating whether you're a sage green home person now, and it's not even noon. Welcome to the Walmart/Target run, where you leave
Welcome
with
to the
receipts,
Walmart
a
run,
mild
where you
identity
leave with a
crisis,
mild
and the
identity
bone-deep
crisis and the
exhaustion of someone who
exhaustion of
just finished
finishing
a
a
group
group project
project
alone.
By the end of this, you'll understand exactly why errands feel weirdly draining, why it's not laziness, and how to walk out feeling more like a human and less like a depleted phone on 3%. Here's the mini-payoff. Errands aren't tiring because they're hard. They're tiring because your brain treats them like 100 tiny decisions in a trench coat. Let me show you what's really happening. You park, you grab the cart, and your brain immediately flips into micro-survival mode. Not danger survival, like running from a bear. Social navigation survival, the kind where you're scanning for the fastest entrance, the least chaotic aisle, and the one checkout lane that won't ruin your afternoon. Your eyes are doing this constant math: people, carts, endcaps, signs, noises, the kid yelling like he's auditioning for a car alarm. And the whole time, your brain is trying to predict what will happen next so you don't get stuck behind someone who stops dead in the middle of the aisle to read the ingredients on salsa like it's a legal document. That prediction work is exhausting. Your brain loves routines because routines are cheap. It can run them on autopilot. But errands are deceptive. On paper, they're simple, but in real life, they're chaotic. Even if you've done this 100 times, the store layout shifts, the display moved, the thing you need is out of stock, and suddenly you're in the candle aisle having a whispered negotiation with yourself about budget and treating yourself and whether you deserve happiness in the form of a $14.99 vanilla sandalwood jar. This is where the exhaustion starts. Uncertainty. Your brain is basically a prediction machine. It's constantly asking, what's next? And when it can't predict, it turns up your alertness. Not panic, just vigilance. Your nervous system subtly rises like a thermostat. You don't feel stressed. You feel on, like your shoulders moved up a quarter inch and never came back down. Now stack on the decision layer. Toothpaste is not toothpaste anymore. It's a wall of options. Whitening, sensitive, charcoal, mint that promises Arctic blast, and your brain, which would like to conserve energy for important things like remembering your password, now has to run a comparison chart. Every choice costs a tiny bit of mental fuel. Scientists call this decision fatigue, but honestly, it feels more like decision mosquito bites. 1 bite? Fine. 50 bites? Suddenly you're itching in places you didn't know existed. And the store is designed to maximize those bites. End caps are basically little ambushes for your attention. Bright colors, big fonts, limited time vibes. Your brain has a salience system. Its job is to notice what might matter. Anything novel, loud, shiny, or on sale gets flagged. Even if you don't buy it, your brain still processed it. That processing is energy. That's why you can do a calm walk outside for 40 minutes and feel refreshed, but do a 20-minute Target run and feel like you just took an exam in a language you don't speak. Outdoors, your attention can soften. In the store, your attention is constantly being yanked like a dog leash. Think about the sensory load. The lighting is harsh. The music is there but not there. The announcements crackle. The beeping at the registers is like a tiny metronome of urgency. The smell changes every aisle. Detergent, popcorn, rubber, shampoo, someone's overly enthusiastic body spray. Your brain is filtering all of that. Filtering isn't free. Filtering is work. And here's the part you might not expect. Errands trigger identity processing. Because shopping isn't just acquiring items. It's you making tiny statements about who you are, or who you want to be on a random Tuesday. Are you the person who buys the off-brand cereal and feels proud of being practical, or the person who buys the name brand because you're tired and you want the comfort of a familiar box? Are you the person who gets the organic strawberries, or the person who looks at the price and decides to develop a new relationship with frozen fruit? These aren't moral decisions, but your brain treats them like mini stories, and stories are heavy. Now let's zoom in on a classic American scene, the Costco run. You're pushing a cart the size of a small boat, weaving around pallets, and you're trying to remember why you came while holding a 40-pack of snacks that could sustain a village. Costco is basically a warehouse of sensory input and social negotiation. Samples call to you, big numbers scream value. Your brain starts doing future simulations. If I buy this, I'll save money, but where will it live? Am I a person who stores 12 pounds of trail mix? That's your brain running predictions again, planning, imagining, evaluating. It's executive function, and executive function is like your brain's expensive sports car. Amazing performance, terrible gas mileage. So why does it feel weirdly personal when you're exhausted after errands? Because you think, I didn't do anything, but your brain did. Your brain was working nonstop. Here's the named mechanism: cognitive load. Cognitive load is the total amount of mental effort being used in your working memory at one time. Working memory is small, tiny actually. It's like trying to hold water in your hands. Every extra choice, every "where is that aisle," every "did I already grab the allergy meds?" adds another leak. And when you're holding too much, your brain starts dropping things. That's when you forget the one item you came for and remember it only when you're in the car, already buckled, already emotionally committed to never going back inside. Now, add social friction. Stores are social environments with rules. Don't block the aisle, don't stare, don't cut, don't take too long, don't be weird. Even if you're not anxious, you're still tracking other people. You're adjusting your speed, your path, your facial expression. That's social cognition. It's subtle, but it burns fuel. And if you're already tired, like you've been on Zoom all day, answering Slack pings and trying to look engaged while your soul takes a small walk outside your body, errands become the final boss fight. Your brain's self-control resources are already low, so the store feels louder, decisions feel harder, and everything becomes slightly annoying in a way that makes you question your character. That's not you being dramatic, that's your brain protecting itself by getting cranky so you'll leave. Now, let's talk about why it hits especially hard when errands are supposed to be easy. There's a mismatch between effort and reward. Your dopamine system, your motivation chemistry, cares less about pleasure and more about anticipation and payoff. Errands have this weird reward structure. You do lots of effort up front, finding things, comparing prices, navigating humans. Then the reward is you now possess paper towels. Congratulations. Your brain is like, this is what we did all that for? That's why you can binge a show and feel mentally soothed, because the reward is immediate and clear. Story, resolution, emotions. But errands are delayed gratification with a side of fluorescent lighting, so your brain experiences it as effort without satisfying payoff, which makes it feel extra draining. Okay, so what do you do with this, besides accepting that your brain is a delicate little accountant? You don't need to push through, you need to reduce load. Picture this. You're about to do a target run, but instead of walking in raw, you do one tiny thing first. You decide the mission. Not shop, mission. 3 items, maybe 5. A boundary. When your brain has a clear target, it spends less energy scanning. It's like giving your attention a flashlight instead of making it light up the entire store. And you can externalize memory. Put the list somewhere you can see it, not because you're forgetful, because you're human. Working memory is small, remember? Your phone list isn't cheating, it's outsourcing. Another small shift, limit optional aisles. You know the ones that whisper, just look. That's not just looking, that's opening 47 tabs in your brain. If you treat just look as a separate activity you schedule on purpose, your brain stops getting hijacked mid-mission. Now the twist. Sometimes errands feel exhausting because they're the only time you're alone with your thoughts. You're not in class, not on FaceTime, not answering texts, not performing. You're just pushing a cart, and suddenly your brain goes, cool, now that we have bandwidth, let's bring up every unresolved thing. The awkward conversation, the assignment, the family tension, the general sense that time is moving too fast. That's not the store doing that, it's the quiet space inside the noise. Which means the exhaustion isn't only from the store, it's from the mental backlog that sneaks in when you finally stop sprinting. Here's a very American version of that. You're driving home on the highway after errands, with the AC blasting and a Starbucks cup in the console, and you realize you're inexplicably irritated. Not at anything specific, just everything. That's your nervous system coming down. You were in on mode. Now you're in the after, and the after can feel like irritability, fog, or wanting to lie on your bed fully clothed like a Victorian person recovering from the shock of modern life. So try this reframe. Errands aren't a moral test, they're a cognitive workout. If you feel tired afterward, that means your brain did a lot of invisible reps. And if you want one practical move that's weirdly powerful, it's giving yourself a decompression ritual. Not a big wellness thing, a small marker that tells your brain, we're done. Put the bags down, drink water, stand by a window for 30 seconds, or play one specific song on the way home that signals mission complete. Your brain loves endings. Endings lower vigilance. Also, this matters. Be careful about stacking errands with decision-heavy life stuff. If you've been doing schoolwork, dealing with family logistics, or scrolling TikTok therapy language and self-diagnosing your way into a headache, your brain is already maxed out. Errands don't add a little stress, they tip the bucket. If this kind of brain-behind-the-scenes stuff is your thing, you can subscribe. This channel is basically a guided tour of your mind's weird little habits. And next time you're in the aisle staring at 15 versions of the same product, remember, it's not that you can't handle errands, it's that errands are designed to take your attention, and attention is expensive. You can spend it wisely without blaming yourself for feeling tired. So here's my question for you. What part of the Walmart/Target run drains you the most? The decision overload, the people, or the I came for one thing and left with 12 chaos? Drop it in the comments, because I promise you're not the only one. And if you want more of these calm, slightly sarcastic brain explanations, hit subscribe. Your future self, standing under fluorescent lights with a squeaky cart, will appreciate it.